Hey guys, I hope that you guys are doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I'm so grateful that you guys are listening and contributing and commenting and subscribing to my channel. I really appreciate it. In this video, I want to speak to you guys about connectedness or connectiveness. I've received so many messages from people, and I receive them on a constant basis, monthly, weekly, daily sometimes, where people message me saying, oh my god, I just had this exact thought based on this video a few days ago, and then this video pops up in my feed. Or I was thinking about exactly the same thing, and then you started talking about it in this other podcast. Or I was thinking about exactly the same thing, and you started writing about it, and you wrote a blog post about it, or you did a live video about it, etc. And it always surprises me in a way and also gratifies me in a way because it kind of confirms what I think about the universe that we live in. And you guys know that I have a lot of abstract thoughts about this universe we live in. I know or feel, I don't actually know, I feel like there is something deeper to this universe that we are not privy to, that we don't actually see. It's like, and this is something that you've been probably told several times, it's like the fact that there are creatures on this planet that can see in a different way, that can hear in a different manner, that can feel in a different way. Dolphins see by using sonar. They kind of send out a sound wave, and that's how they see what's around them. I think bats do exactly the same thing. They're blind, but they can actually see what's going on around them through sound waves. Dogs are able to smell a wide range, a much wider range of scents than we can. We only smell a few scents, and then they can sense and smell a wider range, much wider than us. So to them, we're basically blind in smells, right? And we're blind in terms of dolphins, we're blind in terms of sounds. So there's so many different ways, and there's so many other creatures I could bring up that do things in a different manner, that see behind the curtain that we're looking at. So we have these blinders on us as human beings. We only see a certain range of vision. We only have a certain UV range vision as well. So we don't see far away in the future. We don't see the past. We don't see the future. We only see the present. And also in the present itself, we're pretty blind if you kind of think about it. We only see certain light forms. Like we only see certain things that are going on here, whereas there are other dimensions, there are other things that are going on in the background that we're completely unaware of. We have no idea. For example, right now, as I said, I'm living in Chiang Mai, Thailand, and there is extreme pollution going on here because of the burning of the crops. But some days I'll walk out and I'll look at the air and I'll look at the atmosphere, and it looks pretty clear. I can see the sun, there are clouds fluffy in the sky, and the mountain that's in the distance is pretty clear. And I think to myself, oh, it must be a good day. It must be a very clean, clear air day. And then I look at the AQI, the air quality index, and I look at it and it's really bad. Well, not as bad as those days where you can actually visibly see the smog and the smoke in the air, but it's still really bad. But I could not, with my eyes, I could not see that because it was invisible to me. And just like that, there are many things that are invisible to us. And that's how I look at the universe, that we are just microscopic beings here. It's like bacteria. Bacteria can't see that much. And we look at bacteria and we think, oh my god, you're so small, you have nothing, you don't even know anything, you don't even have a brain, you're just roaming around eating, and that's basically what you're doing. And we look at bacteria and we think they're nothing. And I'm sure some higher beings are looking at us and thinking, wow, you're just like bacteria, you have no idea what you're doing, you're roaming around just finding food and doing minuscule tasks when there is so much more possibility in this world, right? And so I think of myself and ourselves, human beings in general, as those microscopic bacteria that have no idea how vast this world is and how much they haven't seen and how much the possibilities are, because we're just looking at it from our blind views, from our limited perspective. We have blinders on, and we don't realize that we have blinders on. That's the problem here, that I think, is that we think that we're looking at the world as it is, but in fact, we have no idea that we actually have blinders on and we're only looking at a certain viewpoint, and there's so much more to it that we are completely unaware of. And from this, I gather that there is obviously something deeper that's going on in the world that we are not aware of. And part of it has to do with the collective consciousness. I think I've spoken about this term previously, but I'm going to give you my definition of it. And all of this stuff is obviously just my interpretation of the world that we live in. I'm always thinking about this stuff, and I'm always, reflecting on it, journaling on it. And so I decided I'm going to share some of these random thoughts with you guys, because I thought maybe some of you perhaps are thinking exactly the same way, or some of you are looking for more of this kind of material. So as I said, the collective consciousness is a term that we use for that consciousness, that super consciousness that we're actually all part of. If you watched my previous video on, one of my previous videos on the one being theory, that's basically that one being that we're part of. And because we're all part of this one being, whatever that super being might be, or whatever that being is, we're all connected in a certain way. We are connected. We are part of this biosphere that we live in. And everything on this planet is connected to that one being. And therefore, everything on this planet, every sentient being and non-sentient being, is connected to that collective consciousness. Now, one of the things that you guys will notice, and that's the reason I've told you guys that, we're all connected, is because you will notice that you will start having the same kind of ideas once you're looking beyond this main physical world, and once you are more connected to your intuition, and therefore more connected to your collective consciousness. You're going to notice things where you think to yourself, wow, we are really, truly all connected. That's one of the reasons why, if you notice in history, you'll notice that several different people all around the world, unconnected to each other physically, will come up with the same invention or the same discovery or the same patent, because they were coming up with it because they're connected to the collective consciousness. And in the collective consciousness, perhaps they're all interested in the same thing, and therefore they get the same download in their mind, and therefore they're able to build that invention. And that's really interesting to me, because that truly shows you that even if you're disconnected from this person, maybe this person is across the world, the other part of the world, and you're not connected to them at all, you're not talking to them, you don't even know that they exist, but you're still connected to them because of that collective consciousness, because we're all in general, human beings and all beings, are all putting whatever we learn, whatever we grow, whatever we're learning, all of that consciousness is being fed into this database, this huge, massive database, which is the collective consciousness. Now, I am a very technical person. I'm a geek, so I love this kind of stuff, but I'm always using computers and supercomputers and databases as my example when I'm talking about the collective consciousness, because it kind of makes sense to me in that manner. Perhaps it doesn't make sense to you, but that's the example I'm using, or that's the way I explain it to myself, is that it's a database. It's this supercomputer database. It is the ultimate database, and it collects information from every being on this planet. So the dolphins that are learning about things in the Pacific Ocean are feeding their information into this database because they're connected to the collective consciousness. Me, I'm standing here in Chiang Mai and I'm studying about Tantra Yoga, or I'm studying about collective consciousness, or I'm studying about INFJs, and all of that stuff that I learn about myself and about this world, again, I am feeding that into the same collective consciousness. And therefore, this collective consciousness grows in its capacity. It keeps on learning, it keeps on growing. And the main advantage for us is that once we become more awake and we're more connected to our intuition and therefore to the collective consciousness, we can kind of pull from this database. And instead of learning everything ourselves, we can actually learn through others. So we can pull information from the collective consciousness and know things that we don't actually need to know ourselves. We know it because someone else in the world or someone else in the past has learned it and then fed it into the collective consciousness, and we're just pulling from that database and we're learning in that manner. That's one of the reasons why people meditate. One of the reasons why I meditate is because I want to lose that veil, that curtain that I have in front of my mind that makes me think that this is the only reality, that this is the physical world and that's all there is. I want to imagine and believe that there is obviously a lot more to this world than just this physical world. And the more I meditate, I hope and desire that I will kind of keep on unsmudging or removing these veils and curtains, kind of pulling them back, and I'll be able to see behind them and actually be able to connect to this collective consciousness in a more powerful manner. Right now, maybe I get a download once or twice in my lifetime. I'll get 1 or 2 informations from the collective consciousness, maybe 10 or 15 pieces of information, perhaps if I'm lucky, right? And so that's what happens when you're just a human being. You get a few things coming down to you from the collective consciousness. But the more intuitive you become and the more connected you are, the more of this information you start getting. And that's one of the reasons why I feel that more and more people are realizing about the connectedness in this world. And that's one of the reasons why more and more people message me saying, oh, I was just thinking about this the other day. Because we're all becoming more and more awake, and therefore we're connecting to this collective consciousness in a better manner. Now we're still blind, obviously, and we still have blinders on because we're not there yet. We have a lot more to learn, but at least we're on the process. We're on the path of this growth and learning. I hope this makes sense to you guys. I just really wanted to share this with you because I think it's such a fascinating topic. I'm always thinking about it. I just love thinking about it and reflecting on it because it makes me feel like there's something deeper to this world rather than just going to work, paying the bills, and dying. I think there's something more to this world than this, and therefore I love thinking about this stuff. Again, I hope I was able to explain myself to you guys in the manner that you were able to grasp it. If you guys have any questions at all about this topic, about any other topic at all, please let me know. All my videos are there for you to learn, and if you guys have any questions about specific videos, please message me. All my contact information is in the description below, and I shall see you guys in the next video. Bye for now.